Welcome back to another episode of Let's Have Breakfast. I'm your host, Jadena Liz, and I have always been a dreamer. I'm a daydreamer, I'm a night dreamer. I'm constantly thinking about my future and how excited I am for certain things in my life. I've been like that since I was a kid. I don't know if anyone else can relate to kind of that feeling where it's just like I'm yearning for my future life. I'm happy with what I have right now, but I know I'm destined for great things, and these great things are gonna come to fruition. So, yeah, of course I'm dreaming about it. And we're kind of taught to do this from an early age. Our parents or older people in our life are preaching to us that we should dream big and thinking about what our careers are from such a young age. Like, oh, my dream in life is to be a firefighter or a teacher, and these things that we kind of start to think of as a kid. And there's almost no limit. Like, I remember people saying, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be president of the United States. Like, there was no dream off the table. But as we get older, we're kind of taught to start being a little bit more realistic about what we can achieve. As a kid, when we're saying we want to be an astronaut, you don't really understand everything that goes on behind the scenes that it takes to become an astronaut. You just want to go up to space and see the moon. And so our dreams can kind of be crushed a little early on in development because on one hand, we're taught to dream big and the sky is the limit, but then we're also taught that we need to scale it down a little bit and be a bit more realistic with what we can actually achieve. And then it starts to be a little bit more practical even the older we get. So now you're starting to think of, well, what job could make me the most money? What skills am I really good at? And that's something that I could do for the rest of my life. Or what is something that I don't really mind doing and it's okay, I could just do it. Or even thinking from the perspective of what is something I can do that is not going to require me to be in school for 10 more years. And because we kind of nip our dreams in the bud, we stop striving for some of those things we really desired for as a kid. It really is a disservice to yourself to not pursue your dreams. So if you are like me, who was once a deep, intensive dreamer who had a lot of ideas of what my future would look like, that has since turned a little gray since entering corporate, here's a few action steps that you can take to reclaim your dreams and start to follow your North Star. One of the hardest things I think you have to do to be able to take the next step is be radically honest with yourself. I don't know if it's just me. Sometimes, even if I'm alone, it is really hard for me to sit down and admit, this is something that I want. This is something worth working towards. And just really being honest about what I want. I don't know if there's some kind of guard up or if there needs to be more exploration there. But if you're someone like me who struggles to be somewhat honest with yourself about what you desire, this is really your opportunity to think back on your childhood and remind yourself of what you once really wanted. Did you want to be a pop star? Did you want to be a famous actor? What was really in the cards for you when you were a kid? What was your dream job when people asked you that prompt? And what did you feel like was achievable for yourself before people shot you down? And as you're doing this, understand that nothing is off the table. This is you with yourself. You are being fully honest. No one else ever has to see this if you don't want them to. But this is your time to admit to yourself, what is it that you truly desire? So within that, I want you to take 10 minutes to really sit down with yourself, get still, and visualize what it would be like to have this goal, this dream happen for you. What did your younger self want for you? Once you are able to admit to yourself what you really want, it's going to feel a lot more tangible to you. It can feel a little silly sometimes just sitting down and being like, okay, I want to be famous. I want to be an influencer. I want to be a CEO. And it's like, it feels like a big dream that you want to achieve. But at the end of the day, it's possible. We would not have celebrities if they didn't once say, I want to be a famous actor. I want to be a famous rapper. I want to be a famous pop star. I want to be a TV personality. I want to be a host. If we didn't have people saying that and admitting to themselves that that's what they wanted to do, we wouldn't have celebrities. People would not be famous. People would not climb to the top. You have to be honest with yourself about what you want so you can start to get a little bit closer to that dream. So now that you have an idea of where you're going, it is time for you to start a research project. For your brain to be able to believe that it is possible for you, you have to see the case studies. There needs to be evidence. You have to be able to see other people have been able to achieve this. And I would say there's bonus points if you are able to find someone who had a similar background as you currently or previously that was able to make their dreams happen for them. As you're doing your research, you should also look into what is available to you within your community that you can use as a resource. Let's say you want to be a ballerina. Where's the closest place you can take a ballet class? Where can you do a recital? What can you do to get closer to that goal, especially if you've never done it before? Maybe your dream has always been to work around animals. One of the places you can start is looking into shelters in the area that need volunteers, and really just immersing yourself in your community with people who are already doing similar things to you. Now that you have evidence that your dream is possible, I want you to make an action plan. This is your time to tap into your work or corporate mindset because we are building our dream lives from scratch. And now is when we're starting to put it into action. So first, do a brain dump. Everything you've learned, everything you want to do, maybe any ideas that have come up for you as you're doing your research, and really thinking through what your best case scenario is. How will this work out for you? And then I think it's also helpful to think through any anticipated issues or hurdles that you might encounter while you're really building yourself up. This will help you be a little bit more prepared if things come your way. And that way you are well equipped and you already have a plan in place on how you're going to handle it. Once you write it all out and get that out of your system, it's time to work backwards. I think this is one of the best ways that you can make a plan is think through what the big goal is, what's the overarching theme that we are trying to achieve, and then going back and thinking through what are the small steps in between that are going to get you there. So first thing you have to do is start. If it's a new skill, you need to start looking into lessons. You need to book your lessons. You need to go to your lessons. If you want something that requires a certification, start looking into those programs, sign up for those programs, apply for the programs. Do whatever you need to do to start. Now is when we hit that kind of middle period. You're developing your skills and experience. You're starting to meet the right people. You're hanging out with these people, and you're doing what needs to be done to be successful in your dream. To be able to close it out, though, you need an idea of what you can pinpoint to know you've made it. What is the achievement that's going to make you feel validated that you have reached your dream or that you are close enough to your dream? What is it that's going to make you feel fulfilled in this venture? You have to be able to pinpoint that so that way you can at least measure for yourself what it means to be successful. I am fully of the belief that anything is possible in this lifetime. You just have to do it. Sometimes things are luck, sometimes it's hard work, and a lot of times it's a mix of both. If you have the privilege and opportunity to strive for your dreams, I 1000% think it's a missed opportunity if you don't. We are anchored by a North Star as we head to our dreams. And the best thing about having a North Star is that even if you never fully make it to that star, you might just end up on the moon. And that's still pretty great. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Let's Have Breakfast. I always appreciate your support. Please make sure to subscribe on YouTube at Jadena Liz. This podcast is available on all streaming platforms, so please make sure to tap in, leave a review, leave a comment, and really engage with us.